action rolls on as the afternoon progresses. Lendl, what haven't we seen thus far? And we're still a long way from being done.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is a tag team match scheduled for one fall. Introducing team number 1, making their way to the ring, the team of Jace Carr, Dax Hastings, M.O.R.A.L.
Well, we still have a lot of questions about Dax and Jace and this partnership and what M.O.R.A.L literally stands for. But what we do know is that they came into IWC from Jump Street with a major opportunity at Steak and Eggs Tag Team Championship. They carried themselves well, and they're still on the hunt as far as IWC's tag team competition goes, because they are facing a hungry team that narrowly missed out on becoming #1 contenders.
And I certainly don't want to disrespect our current tag team champions. I don't want this to sound like a slight, but the team they're facing tonight may in fact be their biggest challenge to date. Former multiple-time IWC tag team champions.
I think one could make that case.
It's certainly the biggest team in IWC. It's Gannon and Duke, the main event.
And their opponents, Gannon Jones Jr., Duke Davis, the main event.
3-time tag team champions, and would have had a chance to make it #4 this afternoon if it wasn't for the shady business of Team Big League and the distraction of the dime piece. We'll talk more about that as the night progresses. But Pro Wrestling's All-Star, the meta-human, superstardom personified in the main event's future. But if Jace and Dax can knock off TME, they will make an immediate statement as IWC players.
You know what, Joe? I don't run the company. I'm not Justin Plummer, but I'd fit to say that if these two get a victory over Gannon and Duke, they should be the #1 contenders.
TME have always been about collecting championships. They've always been about showing off what they're capable of, and just the most dangerous combination of size, strength, and agility, I think, anywhere in IWC, maybe of all time.
Gannon and Duke, perhaps the premier tag team here in IWC. And you look on the outside, Jason Dex, they don't look too perturbed. They look ready. But that could all change once the bell rings, Joe. We've seen it too many times.
And you gotta love the energy of TME. Their entrance is like a halftime show, but every single time they compete, they treat it like it's 4th and long. They come to win.
Certainly, Joe, they want another opportunity at those IWC Tag Team Championships. Duke wants his helmet back. What are we going to see here? He can't wrestle with that on.
Well, we'll see. That may be a good luck charm of sorts for Duke Davis. As, well, Dax is mocking the play calling, so to speak. Of course, Gannon has the playbook on his wrist quite often.
Time will tell, but I don't think that was very smart of the newcomer Hastings. But
I mean, he's trying to get under the skin of TME, and I mean, you're not going to outpower TME. You got to
absolutely not.
You got to try to get something accomplished here, and if he thinks that's getting under their skin or throwing them off the game, I'm not going to bet the farm on it. But let's see. I mean, M.O.R.A.L looks at this their careers as a redemption story. Dax took 6 years off. Jace is just out of wrestling school. They see a lot of similarities in each other. At least Dax does. I don't think Jace sees it. But these guys want a fast track to the top. And as we talked about with Spencer Slade earlier, that's easier said than done. I think with Dax, it's a little bit more urgency to it. I think Dax wants to feel like he has to make up for lost time because some personal elements kept him out of the ring, some family issues. But he's here now, and he's looking to prove that, you know what, all that time on the sidelines wasn't in vain. I can come in, I can be better than I would have been 6 years ago. But to step into the IWC locker room and prove that, man, that's not just stepping into anywhere. This is IWC, this is the premier place in town.
And these two almost came together by coincidence, Joe. You know, they didn't train together as a team. They were two guys both looking for an opportunity, and they came together, and it looks like, as of now at least, they're sticking together.
Nice series of backbreakers by Gannon Jones Jr. 6'5" or so. Down across the knee. And Jace Carr finding out the hard way, just that limitless power that Gannon Jones Jr. possesses. And the metahuman, he didn't even have a lot of leverage. He was pretty far away from Jace, but he still caught flush with that chop.
Well, whether he got all of it or not, Joe, what you see between Gannon and Duke is solid teamwork. The entire match, they work as one, and Dax and Jace, they need to work on becoming one.
Dax Hastings back in.
Be as good as you can be by yourself, but tag team wrestling is a completely different game, Joe.
And to our point about Dax trying to mock Gannon earlier, Dax feels that he's the more composed of his team. He feels he's the more level-headed of the team. And he's done that to try to reel in Jace and try to get his temper in order and get his focus down, but I think he's trying to do that for the opposite effect, trying to raise that ire of TME and maybe make them make a mistake. But thus far, a flawless effort by Gannon Jones Jr. at the early going, showing that he can mat wrestle as well. You can't build that house unless you got a solid foundation, and Gannon can go any style he needs to.
Joe, just think of over the last few years how many teams we have seen the main event tangle with in between those ropes. They've faced teams from all kinds of levels, top to bottom. Certainly more experience, certainly more chemistry.
And just think about some of the teams that we've seen here and will see here this afternoon. I mean, not just Team Big League, where you're going to challenge Steak and Eggs, but you've got the Regulators, you've got Hardcore Hammer Time, you've got the main event, you've got M.O.R.A.L. You've got more and more tandems as time goes on that make a bid. We got the Gambinos.
I was going to say, Joe, you missed the Gambino brothers making a return tonight.
Arguably the greatest tag team in IWC history. I don't know if that's going to be a regular thing, but you know what? If they win tonight, I bet it will be. I mean, there's so many tandems that are throwing their hat in the ring, so to speak, that would love an opportunity to be the flag bearers of this division. What about Lebanon Don and Tito Oric? What about the STDs back on the scene if Corey's okay? I mean, everybody wants a shot, and I think this division is more wide open now than it's been in a number of years.
And as you mentioned, the division might be more wide open than it has been in the past few years. Maybe that's why the Gambinos came back together. They want another shot at this tag division. They want to show that 10 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, however long it's been since they were on the top of the division, they want to let everybody know they can still get there. And tonight in our main event, it's a tag team elimination tables match. Boy, they're going to have to prove it.
Yeah, we saw, I mean, so much history of IWC. If you watch Six Pack with Jack on IWC social media, if not, you can check out those backlogged episodes on the IWC network. But we've talked about the history of tag team wrestling, not just the Gambinos, but what about the Cleveland Mafia, J-Rock and Ray Rowe? What about Babyface Fire, DJ Z, and Corey? What about
sexual harassment, Joe?
The various incarnations of sexual harassment over the years. The Devil's Advocates, the Burning River Brigade, Matt Cross and Josh Prohibition through the years. And there you see from behind a moment ago as Dax and Jace create the diversion and go to that injured knee of Gannon Jones Jr. Really, that's the one weak point physically of Gannon, and it's always a bullseye because of that heavy brace. But we see so many times athletes target that knee, take away that size Gannon brings to the table.
And Joe, you mentioned the knee of Gannon. That brace is there to prevent injury, but it's also a huge bullseye. And Dax and Jace, they're new to the game, but they're not stupid. You know, they see that injury, and they're going to take advantage of it.
Dropped hold into the knees of Chase, nicely done. And the elbow follow through, Gannon was caught. And I like that tandem offense 2 count only, and M.O.R.A.L certainly showing they have an even bigger chip on their shoulder after falling to steak and eggs. They have, in their mind, so much to prove. And I don't know where they go if they don't prove it here tonight, this afternoon, but man, that's such an uphill climb. But right now, they've got Gannon where they want him.
And that was smart. Dax keeping Gannon isolated as he tags in the freshman car.
And, oh, Duke.
A little extra shot for Duke there on the outside.
Absolutely, and Duke was neutralized, and Duke's in a bad way at this point. And Gannon going for the paddle counter roll here, but momentum carried forth, and Gannon,
goodness, what strength from Gannon Jones Jr. A few minutes ago, the knees were placed perfectly on the midsection of Gannon Jones Jr. I'm surprised he even had enough breath to hoist up Jace Carr like that. He's just trying to get his momentum back, trying to get his breathing back right now. And the problem is Duke's not ready for the tag.
Come on, we got this in the bag. We got this.
Yeah, Duke is not even on his corner because he got knocked off a moment ago, and the momentum carried him all the way back towards the guardrail almost. Caught Duke unaware for a moment, tagged back in between both members of M.O.R.A.L, and Duke has not even been legal in this match yet, Lendl.
And you see the brace almost completely off the knee of Gannon Jones Jr.
Oh, yeah,
that's only going to cause...
That's the damage done, and now the super kick into the crucifix pin. They've got him! Oh, half a count away from a major upset here.
And it's only going to get worse as this match goes on.
Yeah, Dax has the crossface on Gannon, and Jace elevates himself down with a plancha to Duke, and Duke's a solid 8 feet away from his corner. Gannon has been legal this whole match. He's got no partner. Gannon may have to tap out, and where does TME go in the rankings then?
That'd be a question for Justin Plummer, but you know what? I'm very impressed with Jace Carr and Dax Hastings, as you've seen. They've kept Duke out of the ring. Duke was barely up to his feet, and he's out again. This is what they need to do. Keep Gannon in the ring. He's the less fresh of the two. He's obviously favoring that leg. Keep him down. Keep him at don't let him get to a vertical base here. This is a mistake.
Gannon's size worked to his favor. He was able to get his feet underneath the bottom rope to necessitate a break, and Dax charges through it, and he bet as soon as he turned around. Duke was there with a giant boot in the clothesline. Duke is still not legal, by the way. I don't believe a tag was made, but Duke just doesn't care.
Look at the strength of Duke Davis.
Look, ow.
Going for the cover, but as you said, he's not legal. Carr breaks up the cover anyway.
Sit out suplex at Carr right to the butt of the jaw.
Wow.
And Duke gets neutralized. Gannon to his feet, but what condition is that knee in? Face first goes Carr.
But you know what? I don't think Gannon was able to get him up as high as he wanted to.
He certainly
pressure
wasn't.
on that knee.
Yeah, Carr's in a bad way right now, but Gannon may be worse. That knee brace literally dragging behind him. Brain buster, nicely done.
He was able to get Carr over, but that might have been the last amount of momentum that Gannon had.
Yeah, Gannon's working on, at best, about 60% physical efficiency here. That left side's got to be significantly weak, and Gannon's trying to call plays to Duke. And flea flicker.
Was going to say Duke's not too fresh either. Surprised they were able to connect on the flea flicker. The Carr's rolling out of the ring.
Look out. Yeah, Dax in a bad way here. Or rather, excuse me, Jason in a bad way. And there's a second one!
They hit it again! They hit it again!
Flea flicker to Dax! That'll do it!
Here are your winners, the main event.
TME get the job done over a very hungry, very determined young tag team. And the most impressive thing to me, Lendl, is M.O.R.A.L came in with an incredible strategy. They executed it to a T. Duke Davis was never tagged in as the legal man, but the main event still found a way to work together and win.
And now, Joe, with that victory, the main event itches closer towards a shot at the Tag Team Championship. And unfortunately for Carr and Hastings, it looks like they're going to have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, TME will be watching closely at the Tag Team Championship matchup later on in this afternoon. TME would love to be 4-time Tag Team Champions. If Gannon's knee is okay, you know they'll be in that hunt, in that conversation. if IWC does continue, the main event want to roll right back into title contention.